Alright, let me sneak on through here. Yep. This is the proof right here. That's the proof that Spider-Man stories, good ones, exist on the planet. Not Dark Web Venom and Dark Web finale or the overall Dark Web event. When you talk about classic stories, it's going to be these books right here. If you want to fall in love with the character, I'm going to show you in a little bit what great stories that Marvel has put out in the past to make you fall in love with the Spider-Man character. There is a reason why people love Spider-Man. It's because of this. And current writers of Amazing Spider-Man should read the history, right? You can put your spin on the character all you want, but you need some kind of substance to make the character continue to grow. What I read in this Dark Web event was so far from an event, it wasn't even hardly a story. There was no motive. There's no character development. There is no motivation. We just get some annoying ass little girl that comes into this book and interrupts a major battle that was about to happen, and her freaking dad winds up escaping. We get Normie Osborn that becomes this new version of the Red Goblin. Nothing comes out of it. He's just this weird version. In this book here, we get Madeline Pryor that basically says, "Oh, I got my memories back. I need to make Limbo the way that it was once again." And what does she do? She just sits there and gets half naked and says, "I am the queen of Limbo," and they all realize who she is again. She takes her scythe back and freaking Ben Reilly goes back to freaking into a jail cell. Like, that's all that happens to him. Like, what is that? There's no ramifications in this book whatsoever. Rex Wrap, the new Spider-Man from Limbo, we don't even know where he went. He just disappeared. It literally says that in the book. There's no justification. Same with Janine. Like, she just disappears too. But at least you're going to get a spin-off book with her, and you're going to find out what happens in that story, at least with her. In fact, maybe out of anything that was developed out of this, of a character standpoint, maybe it was Hollow's Eve because her power set's kind of cool. But as an overall story, nothing was accomplished. The Peter Parker Spider-Man character, there was no character growth at all. A fight between Ben Reilly and Peter Parker, nothing existed. There was hardly a fight whatsoever. Nothing was justified. There was no stakes. There was no rhyme or reason for it. It was just there. I don't know if Marvel sat there and said, "I need an event just to call it a Spider event for the year." Like, I don't know. Honestly, guys, the last real Spider-Man run that had any kind of ramifications, and you guys can argue with me all you want with this, was Dan Slott's run. His last issue was issue 700 when we got right before Superior Spider-Man. That book had balls. I know people did not agree with it because they were like, how can you switch Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man, and how can Spider-Man die? But you know what? I give him credit for going outside of the box and making Superior Spider-Man, creating Dr. Octopus to steal Peter Parker's body. I thought that was absolutely awesome. It had emotion, and there was a story there, and it continued all of the way through Superior Spider-Man. Now, should have Dan Slott continued that story, through his entire run? Maybe it went on too long. I didn't agree with everything that he did, but again, his story had a purpose. So far with Zeb Wells' story, there is no purpose. We just know there's a 6 months that's been missing, and we don't know those 6 months. So we've had like 18, 19 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man so far. Really nothing has happened whatsoever. There's been glimpses. We need to progress a story. Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, needs to grow as a character. What is it? There's got to be something else besides a fancy suit that people can get attracted to the character, right? Do something. Make a story. Why do we have to have such a decompressed story? It's so frustrating. We're going to find out not in issue 19 and probably not in issue 20 because Zeb Wells is not even writing that story. We got Joe Kelly in there and Terry Dodson. So it's going to be a little while still before we find out what this next story arc is going to be about. But until then, I'm going to give you some great Spider-Man comics or trades on the buses that you should read that's better than anything that has come out in at least the last 10 years. Okay? So, first things first, if you want to know anything about freaking Venom, read Spider-Man, Birth of Venom. This gives you everything about the black suit of Spider-Man, how it was created, a wonderful story here. You can get this book for like $20, $30, and it gives you a ton of stuff. The Death of Jane DeWolf, a great story. J. Michael Straczynski stuff, you got The Other. Hey, if you want something about the tarantula, read that. That's better than anything we're getting right now. One of the best stories ever made. Why can't we get to that quality again? The Kraven's Last Hunt. Amazing Spider-Man. This takes place in 1991, 1992. This is like during Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 350. A lot of Eric Larson artwork in this book. It's got the New Warriors in here. Fun, lighthearted, awesome artwork. That's what you want in an Amazing Spider-Man book. Here's volume 20. Same thing takes place David Michelini time. If you read his run, it's absolutely awesome. Here's some of the covers that you can expect in this book. This is a phenomenal read. We can get this Epic Collection stuff too. This is older. This takes place from 1984 to 1986 of Spider-Man. If all these new writers want Spider-Man stories and get ideas, the material's here. You just got to read it, man. Next, we have this epic collection that takes place from 1962 to 1964. Some of the most classic and iconic stories that you could ever read when it comes to the character. Shit, I got omnibuses, right? This is controversial. This is not one of the best stories ever made, but you know what? I bet you this is probably better than what I just read, that dark web crap, right? We got the Clone Saga here. You could always read that to find out why was it so bad. You want to talk about an awesome era in Spider-Man? Well, you got the Spider-Man series from Todd McFarlane. Everybody knows his artwork is a masterpiece, and some of his storytelling was fun too. This, probably one of my favorite omnibuses of all time. This is collecting the Amazing Spider-Man issue 296 through 329. This was Todd's entire run on the character. You can't go wrong with that. So, until we get some kind of story progression when it comes to the Amazing One, Peter Parker's spectacular, amazing web of Spider-Man, whatever the freak you want to call him, read some of this stuff because you'll appreciate that way better, and you'll find out why I fell in love with the character to begin with. So let's cross our fingers that this Amazing Spider-Man run will get better by Zeb Wells. Otherwise, people are going to start dropping the character. And I want to know in the comments below, did you already drop the book? Not everyone is like me, right? So, at the end of the day, when it comes to the dark web, you know what? I give it an F. It was absolutely horrible. Didn't accomplish anything. So, if you guys like my content, I'm going to leave you more content right here. This is my show called The Worthy Ones, where I go over all the new #1 comic books for the week. And guys, as always, keep buying, keep collecting, but most importantly, always read your comics. Guys, thank you so much.